baseball.
I know you're so happy about it. I actually think the Red Sox might not suck this year.
This is the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Me!
Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moonlight, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMassMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
They lead at first, second, and third. 2 strikes on Lee. Poked into left field. That's going to drop down. 1 run is in. 2 runs will score. And Minnesota will walk it off here tonight. Brooks Lee with a 2-run single in the bottom of the 9th. And they win it 5-4. And a huge disappointment for the Red Sox tonight after the 90-minute rain delay with a 1-run lead, but they've given up 2 hit batsmen so costly.
Yeah, and you feel like all the momentum taken away from the Sox in that 9th inning where they took the lead. Anthony put them ahead. Rain delay happens, and then Jordan Hicks comes out and can't throw strikes, right? Can't get in a good spot to get outs. You know, Bregman bails him out the bat before that, gets the out at home, and then right there with 2 strikes, giving up that 2 RBI walk-off single.
Your final score tonight here in rainy Minnesota. And the rain delay, who knows how much that cost the Red Sox tonight.
So you want to talk about costly defeats? Last night's going to be near the top of the list. Crushing defeat for the Red Sox in Minnesota in the opener of a 3-game series with the Minnesota Twins. The teams will play game 2 tonight in Minnesota. If you did not see the end of this game, and many of you did not, and I can't say I blame you, there was a 90-minute rain delay in the middle of the 9th inning before the bottom of the 9th began. The Red Sox took the lead in the top of the 9th, 4-3. They then went to they were changing sides. The game was postponed for 90 minutes. They came back out after 90 minutes, and the Red Sox lost the game 5-4 to the Twins. And as far as costly losses go, this one near the top of the list. So I said on this program yesterday, you take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. Now you go into Minnesota. The one thing you don't want to do is lose a series to the Twins and give the game back. Okay, and when I say the game back, meaning the game that you gained in the Dodgers series. You won 2, you lost 1, you come out, you're 7 games over 500. You don't want to come back now at 6 by losing 2 out of 3 to the Twins. And yet the Red Sox went in there last night, lost that first game. Now they're in a position where they can erase the damage of that first loss by winning the next 2. But as we like to say here in the afternoon at 98.5 The Sports Hub, we have a show to do today. And right now, that loss was a killer. So for those of you who didn't watch, the Red Sox had pitching breakdowns. 2 people in particular, they were shorthanded on the staff, but you certainly can question the way that Alex Cora managed the pitching staff. All that stuff is in play. So here's my question to you. If you were among the people who either stayed up, and I wasn't, I watched the rest of it this morning, but if you know what happened, do you blame Cora for the way he handled that pitching staff? Do you blame Jordan Hicks for the way he pitched? And this is becoming a common thing now, recurring thing with Jordan Hicks. Or do you blame Craig Breslow for leaving the Red Sox in a spot where they are shorthanded in the bullpen, and last night it bit him in the ass? I don't think there's a nice way to say that. 617-779-0985 is your number here on the Baseball Hour. Who do you hold most accountable? So now if you want to call me and tell me that they're all to blame, I would agree with you. But tell me who you put at the top of the list. Cora, Breslow, or Jordan Hicks. And I'll get to Jordan Hicks in particular in a moment. But before I even go down that road, Jimmy Stewart, who would you put at the top of your list?
I blame Cora because he's got to plan better in case there's rain in the forecast. He can't have Jordan Hicks as his last pitcher, because if you do that, what if there's another rain delay? What if you have to go 3 innings with Jordan Hicks? Like, do you have to put a position player in there? Do you have to go to the next day's starter? Like, I blame Cora for mismanaging the pitching staff during the game. Fitz could have gone longer. Chris Murphy could have gone longer. You shouldn't have had Jordan Hicks warm up, come in for the 9th inning, have the 90-minute rain delay, and then have to go back to Jordan Hicks.
Okay, so listen, a lot of people feel like you do, Jimmy. And second-guessing the decision to take Richard Fitz out of the game with 58 pitches, totally legit. I think did he only give up 2 runs last night?
Sounds right.
Okay, now he got slapped around a little bit. Some of those balls were hard hit. But if you want to tell me Cora knew his bullpen situation going into the game, that's totally fair. He knew he wasn't going to have Aroldis Chapman. He knew he wasn't going to have Garrett Whitlock, who apparently was affected by that bad flight going into Minnesota. When the Red Sox flew from Boston to Minnesota, they ran into bad weather, and the flight was awful to the point where, and I don't ever remember this happening in the many years I've covered baseball. I remember bad flights, and I can list the cities where they happened. I still remember them. And I can tell you there were some places that were, when you knew you were flying there, you said, I hope we don't hit a thunderstorm. Baltimore was one. Chicago was one. I remember a bad one going into Cleveland and Kansas City. Those stick out above all others. Bad flights into those cities. Minneapolis wasn't one of them. But the Red Sox had to stop in Detroit, and on the flight, a number of their players got sick and got motion sickness from the turbulence. One of them was Garrett Whitlock. So Cora went into the game last night knowing he wasn't going to have Chapman. He wasn't going to have Whitlock. He pulled Fitz after 4 innings and took Murphy out in the middle of the game when he might have been able to leave him in. As a result, by the time they got to the end of the game, it was Jordan Hicks or nobody. That was it. And then Hicks threw up all over himself, which brings me to a whole different discussion. And that concerns frankly, I'd have taken anyone over Hicks in that spot. I don't trust the guy. He was part of the Rafael Devers deal. Every time I watch him pitch, I want to vomit. And I'm starting to feel the same way about Alcala, who pitched the 6th inning and had a similar experience. The guy who throws 99 miles an hour and has no idea where it's going, I have no use for. And evaluators in Major League Baseball have always loved those guys and taken a chance on them just because they can throw 99. And to me, there is nothing worse than a guy who throws that hard and can't throw a strike. And they almost all suck. All of them. Very few guys get turned around and all of a sudden develop a knack for throwing strikes and become effective, especially as relievers. I don't want to say it almost never happens, but it's rare. And incredibly, teams still believe in them just because of the stuff. So Alex Cora was asked about Jordan Hicks and the predicament after the game, and the predicament that he was in, meaning that Hicks got warmed up during the 8th inning, then the rain delay, and had to go out and pitch the bottom of the 9th. Now, and I will admit, tough spot. And if Jordan Hicks were a different kind of pitcher, I might be able to look at it and say that the delay really effed him up. But I've seen Hicks pitch like this even when there wasn't a delay. Anyway, here's the exchange Cora had with Jemai Webster about Hicks after the game.
How tough are those disruptions when the game is interrupted like that? You feel like 3 outs away.
Especially where we were before the rain delay and just, waited sick, Chappie's down. It was him right there, and not easy to do. So, we just turned the page, and we got to be ready for tomorrow.
What have you seen from Hicks as of late?
He's been good. But tonight that was uncomfortable in the sense that, he got hot and you have to wait all that time, and it was him, So not easy to do. He did try his best, but it just didn't work out. But, I mean, there's nothing you can do against Mother Nature.
Okay, so he's talking about the rain there, and I will say, just in the interest of disclosure, there was another question in there from Chris Cotillo, but it was difficult to hear, so we edited it out. And Cora said, nothing you can do about Mother Nature, and he's talking about the rain, and okay, fine. But is that why Jordan Hicks melted down? Because Jordan Hicks has never been able to throw strikes, and his stuff is all over the place. Last night in that game, he hit batters with consecutive pitches. I'm sure I've seen it before, but I can't remember it. Not easy to do, to hit consecutive batters on consecutive pitches. Not easy to do. And Jordan Hicks did it. He was ahead of the first batter in the inning with a 1-2 count. He ended up giving up a single to right field because he couldn't put him away. And part of the reason Jordan Hicks can't put guys away is because he doesn't know where it's going. He can't spot his fastball, and he doesn't throw his breaking stuff consistently enough to be able to get big outs. You put him in a pressure situation, shakes the clown all over the place. So Cora went to him last night because he had to. He did it several days ago in a game where he didn't have to, and it cost him in that one. That was in the Philadelphia series. So I don't know if the Red Sox feel compelled to use Hicks in these games because they're short in the bullpen, because they got him in the deal for Rafael Devers, because the front office wants him used and Cora doesn't. I have a hard time believing that Alex Cora would trust a guy like that in the final innings of a game. So, although he did it with Hansel Robles too, and Cora liked the stuff, but I will tell you that I think he did it with Hansel Robles unwillingly because he didn't have better options. Before we go to break, and I want to get to your calls, let me answer my own question. For me, number one at the top of the list, Breslow. The trading deadline's in 3 days. There are teams out there that have already acted that are in roughly the same position the Red Sox are with regard to the trading deadline in a playoff spot. The Seattle Mariners have acted. In fact, they've made multiple deals. So there are teams out there that have been active. The Red Sox needed bullpen help. They flew to Minnesota knowing they were going to need help because Chapman was already down. And then the loss of Whitlock made things worse. You don't have to wait until the trading deadline to make a trade. You can do it ahead of time. 617-779-0985 will relive the Jordan Hicks meltdown. There was another one in the game, too, by another Boston pitcher, all of which overshadowed a fabulous at-bat and key hit in the top of the ninth inning by a young Red Sox hitter last night that should have you very optimistic about the future. And we'll get to all of that tonight on the Baseball Hour.
and the Baseball Hour on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Yeah, I mean, we had, I think, started high on our expectations about what they might be able to do at the deadline and speculated that maybe if they were willing to give up a major league player like Jarren Duran and throw in another prospect, that could get them a number 2 type starter. That now seems completely off the table given the asking price. And now it's they've readjusted their sights a little bit to the point where they just need a back of the rotation guy, whether that be Charlie Morton, whether that be Merrill Kelly, whether that be anybody like that on a rental. They need someone to make 8 or 10 starts here the rest of the way.
The trading deadline. Before we went to break, I had indicated that we were going to relive that Jordan Hicks meltdown, but Kevin Majori, one of our producers back there with Jimmy Stewart, heard McAdams say this on the Fenway Rundown podcast that they run on Mass Live, which is typically Sean and Chris Cotillo of Mass Live, who do a terrific job covering the team. And I thought this was newsworthy, and it is newsworthy. I mean, I'm not the only one. It's hardly my judgment you should rely on. But but McAdams saying there that the Red Sox are now focused on rentals because the prices are too high pisses me off in one sense and also doesn't surprise me. So I was hoping for something bigger. I wanted a guy like Joe Ryan. Often a deal like that is more of an off-season trade. We'll see what the Twins do and whether the Red Sox can make some type of maneuver to get a front-end starter during the off-season. To me, it would make more sense to do it now. But if the Red Sox don't want to pay the price, they don't want to pay the price. And further, I should add, if Joe Ryan doesn't move, then everybody in baseball felt the same way who wanted him. So there are lots of teams out there looking for pitching. And if Joe Ryan stays in Minnesota, then clearly the Twins either weren't willing to move him or were asking for too much and teams didn't want to meet the price, which is fine. If he doesn't move, there's nothing you can do. But if pitchers with term on their contract move for good pitchers, move for prices that the Red Sox were unwilling to pay, well, then we can look at the Red Sox and question their judgment. So let's see how that one goes. If only rentals move at this deadline, well, then, the Red Sox then we have to look at them a little bit differently. Unless there is some reporting out there that comes out about what the packages were and prices that the Red Sox were unwilling to meet. That's sort of a different thing. But if it moves to rentals, I think that hurts the Red Sox. They need a front-end starter. So other teams have better pitching than they do. Garrett Crochet alone can get you to a certain place. And I know that you can sit there and say, well, in a 5-game series, Crochet would pitch 2 times. So all you got to do is win 1 more game. True. But you still have to win 1 more game. I heard the same arguments when Pedro Martinez was there, and they didn't win and get to the World Series and win it until Pedro got help. Okay, so just something to consider. Many of you lined up. We'll take your calls. Longest time of wait. Longest time on hold. Brian and Drake at first. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, Maz, thank you. I agree with you. I think this is on Craig Breslow. I think there's probably a lot of pressure on Cora to try to justify this Devers trade and put a guy out there that, people think was successful. And when I think back to last year, I understand Chapman has been very good this year. But last year they let Jansen go. They let Chris Martin go. At the time, as good as Chapman's been, he wasn't thought of as one of the top relievers available in this offseason.
Correct.
They brought him in not expecting him to be as good as he's been. There were much more sought-after free agents. The Dodgers got 2 of them. They shouldn't have gone into the season with such a weakness in the bullpen that you have one guy you're hoping is going to be as good as he is, has been. So to me, this is on Breslow for not putting together a team that's, can deal with one injury and the whole team falls apart.
Yeah, so look, they haven't fallen apart. I don't know that I would go that far, Brian. But when you get to the big games, you're going to need more good relievers. And they came into the year, I would say, the early part of the year, their bullpen was doing okay. Between Chapman, Slayton, and Whitlock, they were all right. They lost Slayton. Now Chapman's down, and Whitlock got sick on the flight. So now you didn't have any of them. And Whitlock alone and Chapman are pretty good for the 8th and 9th innings. But when you get, especially if you're not going to have starters that can get deep into the game, you're going to need relievers now in the 6th and 7th and maybe even the 5th. Now, you want to tell me you want to use Weissert somewhere in there in the 5th inning? Like, I can live with that. You're not going to have 5 closers, but they're going to need help. And again, I just don't understand the constant waiting until the last minute. The Red Sox are on the bubble. They're not 5 games ahead. Okay, they're on the bubble. Every loss hurts. Andrew on the Upper East Side. What do you got, Andrew?
Hey, Maz. So you keep saying that they don't need to wait. We shouldn't forget that they didn't wait, and they got this awful return for their best player. So I blame Breslow. I mean, I obviously blame Hicks, too. I don't want to let the player off the hook. But I blame Breslow for the return on that Devers trade because they would not eat any money.
Okay, so yeah, Andrew, listen, that one's a fair point too, and I do think though that the reason they moved early on Devers is because the Giants said that they would take on the money. So if you want my honest opinion, the Giants moved early. The Giants moved early. They put an ultimatum on the Red Sox and said we'll eat the whole contract, but we want it done by the weekend, or we're moving on. So the Red Sox moved. But I think the Giants really made the decision to initiate that trade by taking on the money. Matt's in Rhode Island on Alex Cora. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, yeah, I don't want to act like, the flight wasn't bad and they were obviously down guys, but the Hicks outing last night and the one in Philadelphia were 2 of the worst of the season. Like, they're forcing this guy down Cora's throat because of the trade. Like, they've had these needs since they traded Devers, like you said, like waiting to the deadline, and now all these teams are in on the same guys. Like Charlie Morton, what is he going to do for this team, honestly? Thanks, Wes. I don't get it. Thanks.
So, look, Charlie Morton's 41 years old. I do wonder about Cora's opinion on that. Cora obviously was with the Astros when Morton was a key part of their first World Series win. Morton pitched in relief, started, gave him some big innings there, and that was back in, 2017, right? So, go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, also good news, Rich Hill was DFA'd by the Royals, so that's now an option. Bring back Rich Hill to the Red Sox.
How old is Rich Hill?
45?
Is he that old?
I think so.
Holy crap.
He's going for the Jamie Moyer pitching at 48 record, I think.
I'd like to think that they could do better than Rich Hill, all due respect.
Well, they can't because obviously ownership was willing to spend money at one point when they thought they had a deal with the Twins, and now they're not because they probably did something with their stupid soccer team.
One of the nicer guys you'll ever meet.
That's great. He can't pitch, though.
But 45 years old, and given the spot that they're in, they need to do better.
I thought we were going after impact pitching. I thought there was a Craig Breslow cut on the record about trying to make an impact move at this deadline. And now we're stuck to stupid rentals again? Like the prices. Are you going to actually go for a championship? Or are you just going to act like you're going for a championship? Because that's what it feels like.
I think acting like they're going for a championship would actually require a big move. I think it's a half-assed kind of attempt if they don't. So, again...
What a bunch of cowards, Maz. Like, really?
So,
you've invested this much. You were .500 last year. You get Crochet, Bregman, Chapman. You find Narvaez out of nowhere, and you've had this improvement, and you're still the same team you were last year. And like, what is wrong?
And their bigger moves have worked, Jimmy. Their bigger moves have worked. So Narvaez, I'm starting to get sort of half and half on Narvaez. Do you know he also leads the league in pass balls?
I do
Did
now.
You know that? 6 pass balls. Like,
he's exhausted, Tony.
It could be. That could be part of it. I like Narvaez overall. And again, it's a catcher, so, he throws well. He's good at getting base stealers. But I will say that the pass balls are starting to bug the crap out of me. Because there was a stretch in that game last night with Alcala on the mound where it was wild pitch, pass ball, couldn't throw a strike. It was sloppy, ugly baseball.
Couldn't catch the ball. He was snow coning like 3 pitches.
I mean, they were right. So there were a couple of pitches in there that weren't called pass balls, that were balls he couldn't hold on to. Anyway.
Sorry.
It's don't apologize. It's Tuesday.
It's infuriating, Naz.
It is. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. We're going to give away a Golf gas card. So let me just tell you now, Trivia Tuesday is presented by Golf. you can win a $50 gas card from Gulf to fuel your way to Fenway Park. All you have to do is answer one question correctly, and you can get that $50 to fill your tank. 617-931-0985. That's the contest line. 617-931-0985. We'll take a max of 4 callers, and we only need one of you to answer one question to give away the gift card. And just a reminder that the current opponent for the Red Sox is the Minnesota Twins. So bone up on your Twins knowledge. Kevin Majori's got your headlines.
Essential Sports.
Trivia. Tuesdays are for trivia. Maz has baseball trivia. It's time for you to win some stuff.
All right, $50 Gulf gas card on the line against Trivia Tuesday, presented by Gulf. Download the Gulf Pay mobile app for everyday savings. Gulf, it all starts here. So again, here's the deal. We bring you in. You ask one question. I say we bring you in verbally. I don't know why I felt the need to explain that. In any case, we put you on the air. We ask you one question. If you get it right, you win the gas card. The contest is over. If you fail, we go to contestant number 2 and ask a different question. I don't want you peeking on your phone trying to get the answer. So, and we'll continue to ask different questions until somebody gets it right. And remember, the questions aren't super difficult. I could ask you some tough ones. We want you to win the gift card. It's more fun when you, stumble and stutter and you give a stupid answer. But at the end of the day, we want you to win. So we'll bring in Paul in Watertown. Paul, you there? Oh, did I do that incorrectly? Please hold. Paul, you there?
Yes, Tony, how you doing?
Okay, good. Here you go. We'll ask you the first question of the night. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Name the Twin Cities. Paul?
Minnesota. Minneapolis.
Okay, yeah, we're going to let you go. No, Minnesota is not a city. Murray was right. He knew someone would F this up. The Twins are named the Twins because of the Twin Cities, the cities that are side by side. Their original logo was two guys holding hands, shaking hands, and, they're the Minnesota Twins for the Twin Cities. Minneapolis and St. Paul is your answer. So we now have an open line for contestant number 3. Again, that's 617-931-0985. But in the interim, we'll go to contestant number 2. Jimmy, it appears as though I have frozen up here, so you're going to have to punch up Danny in Providence. Danny, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here is your question. Name the Minnesota Twins infielder that the Red Sox acquired as part of the Nomar Garciaparra trade back in 2004.
First baseman. Dead in the water. I'm dead in the water. He was a first baseman. Ay. Caller number 3.
Okay. Okay, this is good. Jimmy, we haven't had one like this all season. Danny, we're going to let you go. Thank you. The name you're looking for is Doug Minkiewicz. He's also the guy who ended up with the ball when the Red Sox recorded the final out of the World Series. Became a big conflict with the team. They ultimately agreed on giving it to the Hall of Fame. It was kind of a big stink at the time. But anyway, we're on to contestant number 3. Now we need a 4th contestant. So again, 617-931-0985. You'll get in line behind Jack. Jack in Marshfield. Jack, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, here is your question. In the 1991 World Series, this former Twin famously pitched a 10-inning complete game to defeat John Smoltz and the Atlanta Braves by a 1-0 score in Game 7. Game 7 of the World Series. He pitched a 10-inning complete game, beat the Braves and John Smoltz 1-0. Who was he?
He was fortunate he did not have Tampa Bay's manager managing that night. That was Jack Morris.
Jack Morris is correct. Very good. Jack, we're going to put you on hold. Kevin will get your information back there. Jack Morris is correct. And good point by you. Think about that, Jimmy. It's one of the great moments in baseball history. Right? Jack Morris's complete game, 10-inning complete game in Game 7 of the World Series, meaning the stakes could not have been higher. And the manager let him go the whole game. It was Tom Kelly back then, I believe.
It was Tom Kelly.
Tom Kelly managed both of those World Series teams.
He did. Only team to win all the home games and lose all the road games.
Okay.
And by the way, if I remember correctly, Jack Morris was coming back for the 11th. There was nobody up in the bullpen, in the Twins bullpen at the time.
So that's probably right. It wouldn't surprise. Think about it. That would never happen in this day and age. Isn't that sad? That's one of the great performances in baseball history, and the nerds wouldn't allow it to happen in this day and age. Unbelievable.
126 pitches for 10 innings.
And now Smoltz went 9 shutout. They took Smoltz out of the game. Smoltz didn't pitch the 10th.
He did not.
Who gave it up for the Braves?
Alejandro Pena, former Red Sox at one point.
I loved him. That guy was good.
Not that night he wasn't.
I'll go back to the calls here. Chris is in a car. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, hi, Maz. Hey, I just wanted to go back to that comment that Cora said during his press conference, you guys you played, about not Fisk, whatever.
I'm going to let you go just because we got other people on the line. You're talking about Jordan Hicks and that he didn't blame Hicks. I would tell you, look, I don't go crazy on Cora for this one. It was a tough spot. If it were an isolated incident, I could look at last night's game and say Jordan Hicks was in a tough spot. He's thrown strikes all year. The rain delay clearly threw him off. But Jordan Hicks has a history of not being able to throw strikes. He's all over the place. He hit 2 hitters last night on consecutive pitches. So, and that was not a wild aberration of who he is. That's exactly who he is. If Cora made a mistake handling the pitching, and it's a fair criticism, he did, it was in the middle innings. Now, if he had gone with Fitz a little bit longer or Murphy a little bit longer, could they have given up some runs and there wouldn't have been a 9th inning at all? Maybe. But it's a reasonable second guess. Derek in Maine. Derek, go ahead.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. What do you got?
Hey, so I just saw a tweet from Matt McCarthy on Twitter there, or X, whatever you want to call it, about Trevor Story slumping. But I just want to make sure that we all are aware that there's like 7 guys in the lineup that are slumping as well. It's not just him. I mean, he saved the season during that 10-game win streak. He was the hottest hitter, him and Cedon. So I think other people need to get the bash, and it's definitely not Story, and it's definitely not Craig Breslow.
Okay, so Derek, are you a Trevor Story fan?
Yeah, big Story guy.
Okay, and you're allowed to be. I'm just telling you that the way I look at it, I never look at it in the context of one player unless he is your star player and he's having a horrible year and letting you down or he's carrying your ass. So, for example, without Garrett Crochet, the Red Sox are screwed. Garrett Crochet's 8 games over 500. The Red Sox are when he pitches. They're 15-7. The rest of the time, they're 2 games under. Okay, so you follow me? Garrett Crochet is keeping them afloat. But I would also tell you that Trevor Story was, in the big picture, Trevor Story's biggest contributions and Rafaela's came during those series with the Nationals and the Rockies. You take away those 6 games, the Red Sox are a 500 team. And, more importantly, their run differential for the season is plus 53. They've outscored their opponents by 53 runs. 40 of them, 40, came in the 6 games against Washington and Colorado. Okay, that is a disproportionate number. JT in Nantasket. JT, what do you got?
Tony, 3 quick points. 1, I blame ownership. Breslow equals ownership. Number 2, I didn't watch, and the reason I didn't watch is I have to pay so much extra to get the Nesson app. And the third quick point is it's the North End feast season just kicked off last weekend with the St. Joseph Society. This weekend is St. Agrippina. Love to see you down there, Tony.
So, JT, when's the Feast of St. Anthony?
I think it's in August, mid-August.
Usually, yeah, August. All right. Well, that's the one we always used to go to when I was a kid. So I don't know if I'll be there this weekend. Thank you for the invite, but I'll try to make a point of getting there at some point. My kids would love that. Be a good time. I do think there was one at-bat to absolutely celebrate last night. What I would call a world-class at-bat by one of the centerpiece young guys on the Red Sox. And we'll relive that when we come back for the final segment of the Baseball Hour. Don't go anywhere.
Tony Maz, and more of the Baseball Hour on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Nobody out, the 3-2. Swing and a base hit into right center. That brings in Hamilton. Roman Anthony with an RBI single, and the Red Sox are on top again. 4-3 in the ninth.
Kid's a real deal, Obi. I know we already knew it, but we're just watching the early stages of a really special career. I mean, this is against one of the best arms in baseball. Not only does he go up there and get a knock, he works a great at bat in a situation where young hitters have trouble because there's a base open, right? You got speed on the base pass, you let him get his base, and then you come up with a huge knock.
So that was the hit that should have won the Red Sox the game last night. Ninth inning. And again, we get on Cora a lot for managing. I thought he managed a good ninth inning, or at least top of the ninth. By the time he gets to the bottom, he didn't have a choice. He went with Jordan Hicks. They were short pitchers, and Hicks got the ball last. They could have probably worked their way around that if they had, stretched out the middle of the game or stretched out a couple of guys in the middle of the game a little bit. They might have been able to go with Weissert at the end, although I'll tell you, I don't love Weissert at the end of the game either. He's another one to me that just winds up and kind of throws it from his ass. But in any case, I would take Weissert over Jordan Hicks. Just my 2 cents. I feel like there were more strikes there. But the at-bat by Roman Anthony in the top of the ninth. And again, remember that the entire inning started with, I'm going to have to go back here and now look at it. Who got on base, Jimmy, to start the inning before Anthony? It was Abraham Toro. Toro got on base.
I think Toro worked a walk.
And he did work a walk. In fact, Toro got on by a walk, and Cora ran for him with David Hamilton. And then what happened was Hamilton stole second, Hamilton stole third, both of which with Anthony at the plate. So the Red Sox had a man on third, nobody out. Roman Anthony then singled, scored the run. They went up 4-3. Now, Anthony then got thrown out stealing. So that was one you can look at and say, okay, did the Red Sox push it a little bit too far? But with Duran on the mound for Minnesota, the Red Sox tried to run on him over and over and over again, and eventually it burned them. But that aside, the start of that inning, Cora did well. And the at-bat by Roman Anthony against one of the best relievers in the game. Ball one and then a called strike. And let me just add that the called strike came while Hamilton was stealing second base. So in other words, Anthony wasn't going to swing at the pitch because Hamilton's so freaking fast and the matchup was so favorable in terms of being able to run on the battery that it was smart to not swing. So he took a strike. Then ball two. Then a splitter for a strike. But again, Hamilton was running. So both of the strikes that Anthony took were on steals. There was not a called strike in the first 4 pitches that went by him without him doing it on purpose. The 5th pitch was also a ball, so now it's 3-2. The next 2 pitches were kind of nasty. He fouled them both off. One of them in particular was a breaking ball down and in that he fought off, and I wasn't sure he was going to be able to make contact. It was nasty. He did a good job hanging alive. The final pitch was a fastball over 100 miles an hour that jammed him a little bit, hit the middle of the bat. And Anthony still got enough of it to dump it into right center field for a base hit. The exit velocity on the hit was a little over 80 miles an hour. So the ball went out 20 miles an hour less than it did when it came in. So the next time someone tells you that exit velocity is the best way to evaluate whether or not a player deserved a hit, you tell them to go pound sand. Because that was an excellent at-bat, and it was a world-class hit at a key time in the game.
And I bet he got chewed out for it by the driveline guys.
And it was 80 miles an hour. Okay? So just consider that. Use your eyes. Okay, use your eyes. Your eyes will usually tell you.
But his swing path was bad.
So it'll usually tell you. Anyway, Joe Murray coming up next. Kevin Majori will update you on the latest. He'll give you the headlines here, including developments today down in Foxborough. We'll catch you tomorrow.